One of the consensus points among people who work on gender and economics as to the structural source of gender inequalities has to do with what we call the care economy. The care economy is basically all the production of goods and services for the care of, first of all, dependent groups in society, such as care-dependent groups such as children, elderly, disabled, the ill, but also for care of healthy individuals so that they can reproduce themselves on a daily basis and across generations. The care economy acts as a source of the way it is organized right now, acts as a source of gender inequalities because a lot of the care work is done on an unpaid basis in the domestic sphere and predominantly by women. So given that time is the most restricted resource that we have, 7/24, the more time women put into unpaid work, the more time restrictions they experience, which means that their opportunities for accessing the labor market and outside opportunities are limited. So therefore, interventions directed at the care economy for reduction of unpaid care work and also for redistribution of unpaid care work is a very important policy intervention area. And this redistribution can happen along two dimensions: a redistribution of unpaid care work from the household to public services, from unpaid household work to paid publicly provisioned paid care service work, and also redistribution within the household between men and women. Social care service expansion is a long time claim by women's rights advocates. But somehow progress on it has been very limited, and one of the major reasons for it is because there's a limitation of fiscal resources. When you give to policymakers, governments saying that you need to invest more in social care, in child care, in building new child care centers or daycare centers for the elderly and the disabled, the first thing they will say to you, we have limited funds and there are competing needs. So to that end, we've undertaken a policy simulation study where we created basically an analytical framework to help a fiscal policymaker in charge of deciding where to spend the money. What is a priority area? We created a framework whereby we evaluate the economic impact, the short-run economic impact of increasing spending on care, social care sector, for instance, versus other types of sectors where governments usually spend money on. And one of the predominant sectors is construction and physical infrastructure. So what we did is we've undertaken country case studies on a whole bunch of countries, also a global study. And what we do is we say if you direct the same magnitude of spending into social care service expansion versus a construction boom, physical infrastructure projects, what would be the impact in terms of jobs generation, in terms of how many jobs will be generated, poverty reduction, gender gaps in the labor market, as well as what is the fiscal sustainability of this spending. And what we found, for instance, let me give you an example from the Turkish case. We've undertaken an in-depth case study of Turkey in this respect. What we found is the following: social care spending, every lira of Turkish of social care spending generates about 2.5 times more jobs than the same magnitude of spending on construction. So first of all, it benefits men more as well. Because there is so much more robust jobs generation through social care spending. The second thing is under a targeted social care expansion policy, there is a huge potential for poverty reduction. We found that through a targeted expansion, Turkish government would be able to reduce poverty just through the demand side effects by 1.5 percentage points. Whereas under construction, the maximum impact would be about 0.5 percentage points reduction in poverty. The feasibility through increased tax revenues is higher in the case of social care spending. We found about 25 to 35% of the initial outlay of expenditures would be recovered by the end of the year, only through the channel of jobs generation and income generation. I'm not putting into this households increase in household spending, induced effects, and so on. Whereas in the case of construction, the tax revenue return was limited to less than 10%. And as far as the gender gaps are concerned, construction spending works to widen the gender gaps even further. I mean, in the Turkish case, what we found was that about the 40 percentage point gender employment gap would be widened further by about 2 percentage points through construction spending, because construction creates jobs predominantly. 94% of the jobs created through physical infrastructure and construction in Turkey, we found, are male jobs. Whereas social care spending not only generates more jobs for everyone, but it also, because of its pro-women composition of labor demand, it also narrows the gender employment gap. We found that it would narrow the gender wage gap by a couple of percentage points. It's a win-win strategy. Investing in social care is a win-win strategy, not only for women, but for the overall society.